Welcome to the Church of Thomas. Avoid history repeats. 10:14:11. One of the biggest shortages that I have found is the idea that people do not study the cultures that they interact with or the history of these cultures. Some examples would be Indochina and Korea and their tie, Russia with their winters, Afghanistan and Russians, African tribal warfare, the no-win problem in the Middle East, fighting over oil. When we do not look at the world through the eyes of our adversaries, we cannot understand them, and understanding is the key to being able to negotiating with them. We may not ever agree with some of their cultural ideas, but if we don't know where they're coming from, their mindset, their cultural biases and taboos, we will mess up. It is time for us to totally get out of the Middle East. They've even seen it happening, and they're trying to negotiate the price of oil downward so that we're not thinking of getting rid of them anymore. But frankly, it's too costly. They have ways of selling this oil to other countries, but the Western world needs to put their foot down. It's time to quit fighting over this resource. There are options. And I'm not talking about going with nuclear, because I feel that that is a long-term danger that we cannot afford. If understanding the culture of the Middle East does not hit home with you, understand that the Arab countries were just recently tribal areas, without a standing government in many cases. The ones that had standing governments were all direct descendants of Muhammad, the prophet. All of these cultures are not based on Western ideals. They are based on the concept that the ruler is all-powerful. Of course, now they have an uprising in many of these countries that has been going on for some time now, but the problem is they're trading in one dictator for another. I was concerned not that the Taliban would take over, but that there would be chaos, and that would interrupt the supply of oil as well. The basic ideals of the cultures have not changed. They're not suddenly going to be democratic. They're not suddenly going to want women to drive. They're not suddenly going to allow women to be human beings. If we equate democracy with being just like us, we're going to fail miserably. Every time we give massive amounts of aid to a country that has ideological opposites to what we believe in, we need to think long and hard about why we are giving them the money and they are using it for their own aims and not for ours. And then us being surprised that they do it. Corruption, bribery, and manipulating power plays in Afghanistan has always been tribal. And now there's supposed to be a central government that does this. I don't see it happening. I feel that it is time for us to cut our losses. If we let them develop as cultures without interfering as crusaders, as resource takers, as imperialist pigs, then maybe they can develop on their own and meet us in the middle someplace. The way that it is now, our governments of all of the Western nations feel that it is in the benefit of their country to manipulate the political atmosphere. It's not worth it. There are options. If we do not turn towards renewable, we will be repeating history. They have resources that we need for our economy to continue being strong, and we're not getting it. We are not supporting them for the right reasons, and it's backfiring on us, and we wonder why. Every time a government assumes things about other entities that are based on their own myopic way of looking at the world, there are going to be grave errors. Our governments have made horrible mistakes, and it is time for us to end them. And if that means withdrawing all resources for propping up these dictators from the Middle East, I think it is time. I hope that they develop in their own course in a safe and reasonable manner so that they can negotiate with the rest of the world in good faith. I will pray for them to be good and productive people of the world. And that's the most that I am willing to give them anymore. It's time. I'm not paying for oil anymore with blood. And it's time for our government to understand that as well. God bless the whole world, no exceptions. Angel.